What's going on, guys? My name's Ephraim Batista. I have the absolute pleasure to interview a rock star today. His name is Riad Bacchus. He is the CEO of Nimbled. Today, we're going to walk through some of the things that he's passionate about, some of the things that makes Nimbled unique, some of his experiences in running a successful company, and any best advice and a little piece of nuggets and information that he can offer maybe someone else who's in the space, maybe a CEO who's trying to develop software. Really just tap into your brain, see if we can access that fountain of knowledge. Without further ado, Riad, if you'd like to take the floor, please tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and what makes Riad Riad.
All right, thanks, E. Hi, my name is Riad Bacchus. I am a first-generation immigrant. As a young boy, I moved from my home country of Guyana, that's based in South America, for those of you who are geography nuts. I immigrated to the Great White North, Canada, and spent my formative years there. After graduation, I had decided I had shoveled one too many driveways and decided to find my fortune in the lovely United States of America. So here I am in lovely Southern California, where after some years of toil, have found myself as a founder of a small but growing software consultancy. And you hear about people who dream of one day doing what they love and they strive, like, I'm doing the grind to hopefully one day fish. That's my retirement. I have been so blessed that I truly love what I do on a day-to-day basis. And yeah, it's just a real gift from God. And I don't take that for granted.
I love that. Love to hear that. I love the passion as well. So there's so many industries that you could have gotten into. Why software? Why tech?
Well, it's a great question. When I'm a little older than yourself, but back in the day, actually, computing science was at the time. I graduated in 1995. Yes, it's a millennial ago for most of you. But at the time, my passion heading into university was physics and math. And as much as I love physics and math, the trajectory in terms of career was likely academia. And I knew that I wanted to kind of work in the corporate space, wear a suit as opposed to a ratty old sweater and smoke a pipe. So I had the opportunity in my first year of university to take a introduction to computing science course, and the professor, his name is Jonathan Schaefer, just opened up my mind and my heart into the wonders that was software and engineering and problem solving through this burgeoning new field of software. So I pivoted quickly into the computing science faculty, and the rest is history.
Nice. So you graduated with a computer science degree?
That is correct. Yeah, computing science, and at the time, you take so much math that I took some summer classes to graduate with a double degree in math and comp sci. In case anyone's curious, is specifically linear algebra.
There you go.
Super cool at the time.
Fountain of knowledge, double major. That's impressive, Riad. I did want to ask as well, do you have any recommendations for someone that wants to get into the software industry for them to focus on a computer science, or did you find that studying other departments or taking other courses for those other degrees really helped you build an advantage for what you want to do?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yes. Okay. So when it comes to computing science, there's the mechanics, right? There's the math element, there's algorithms, you have to learn how to code, the tools essentially. But what I feel it has really made me and my company successful is really less about the mechanics and much more about the problem solving, the critical thinking. I think that anyone who gets into this field really needs to understand that success is primarily based not so much on the mechanics. Back in my day, whether it was C, C++, Visual Pascal. The tools will evolve and change. Today, Flutter, React.js, tomorrow, some other new shiny object. But the ability to critically think, to fundamentally understand that there is a problem that requires a thought exercise, and the tools are really just means to an end. It's understanding the problem and creatively coming up with solutions agnostic to tools, and then the tools are simply a vehicle in which to achieve the end. So I would encourage them, philosophy class, or quite frankly, any business class or an economics class, anywhere where critical thinking is really valued and practiced, is incredibly transferable and relevant to computing science.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's extremely valuable. So walk me through the early days, right? Riad, fresh off the graduation, got the diploma in hand. Is it okay? I'm ready to start my own startup and work on Nimbled, or did you work for somebody else? What did that look like?
I mean, back in the day, honestly, like I dreamt of, my an idol at the time was Bill Gates. I wanted to work in Microsoft or IBM or one of the big consulting shops, and I really dreamed about being in the trenches building software. Just serendipitously, like most people, I worked through college as a bartender, and I just happened to have caught wind of the restaurant I was working at had a visitor from head office who happened to be within the IT or information technology department, and they were in the midst of rolling out a brand new point of sale system for the restaurant. So I'm like, I'm going to totally get in on this meeting and meet her just for some career advice. Fast forward a couple of weeks, I had weaseled my way into a summer internship writing software for the company which I was bartending at. So I was able to parlay my problem-solving skills, having been on the ground actually interacting with customers, to software as well. So I turned that internship into an actual job opportunity and began writing software for the restaurant industry. It was totally serendipitous.
Yeah, that's a great story. But talk about taking advantage of of your area, your network, and really just wanting to expand. So kudos to you.
Exactly.
That's awesome. Okay, so I'm sure what a lot of people want to know is, you mentioned before you're out in California. Is it true what they say, right? Because you hear the startup stories, people in garages, right? You've got Facebook, you've got Google, different things like that. Is the environment, is the vibe out in Southern California really what it's made out to be in the media today, or is there some external factors playing into that?
Yeah, there's definitely, of course, Silicon Valley up in NorCal, that's not here, but I've done a lot of work in the Bay Area to understand that is a crackling vibe of opportunity. SoCal is much more kind of chill. There is such a thing as Silicon Beach up in LA. We're based in Orange County. When I first started in this space, it was very much mortgage as well as finance oriented. So the software industry here really grew out of those two particular areas, mortgage and real estate, as well as finance. There is definitely growing over the last 10 years community of engineers, and as a result, consultancies and looking to build sort of a Silicon Valley South, if you will, vibe. So the primary university here, University of California, Irvine, has a great scene in which an innovation scene where lots of young entrepreneurs who are interested in getting into the game can connect and interact over artisanal coffee and speak about ideas, share notes about how to acquire funds and interesting things that they're working on. So it's not a rich and engaging scene as, say, Silicon Valley, which has had a lot more years to mature, but it's definitely on the uptick. Plus, our weather's better.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Can't complain about that. Tell me a little bit more about Nimbled, right? Most people, most entrepreneurs, when they start their own business or their own company, it's because they encountered a problem, whether it be in their day to day, whether it be in their business, right? What was the issues that you were seeing that prompted you to start Nimbled, and how do you continue to evolve and overcome the obstacles that the traditional ways we're facing?
Yeah, it's a great question. So at the time, I spent years in the trenches as a software engineer, and back in the day, we had this thing called a traditional or waterfall approach, where we would engage clients, understand what they wanted, and then go build it. It was very linear and transactional, and there was always an itch that I just felt like something was off with that approach. And in the early aughts, I stumbled upon a process called Agile Scrum, which really advocated for a collaborative partnership with your client, where you understood that software by its nature and the lack of most clients understanding what software is capable of, once you presented something, it begot ideas, which then begot software ideas, and I love that collaborative nature. I'm a social person, and I love the idea of constant interaction with our clients to get more and more ideas versus that sort of linear approach in the past. So I knew that our industry needed to really advocate for that, and I decided, you know what? Why don't I advocate for that? So I created Nimbled under the premise to be an advocate for the Agile Scrum process.
Got it. Got it. So, how long have you been running Nimbled?
So I began Nimbled in 2011. There was a lot of chaos in the space. Obviously, the Great Recession, 2008, consulting firms were sort of trying to find their footing, as well as a shock to the real estate and the mortgage industry here, and everyone was trying to find their way. My passion for an agile collaborative approach was really met by the opportunity of people looking for ways in which to engage in more efficient and cost-effective ways. And I really tried to sell that this approach would deliver greater value in a faster period because of the collaborative nature. And that resonated with quite a few folks who were looking for just general efficiencies. So yeah, 2011.
2011. Understood. What percentage of companies similar to yourself go waterfall as opposed to agile?
It's been a real interesting arc. Definitely in those early, mid to early aughts, Agile was sort of a quirky thing that engineers did in the dark corners. And over time, as it often is, it starts out at a couple of firms. The bigs, like the FANG companies, began to adopt it. Microsoft, Facebook, a lot of these startups became early advocates for it. HBO's Silicon Valley, that very clever show that took the piss out of engineering, basically, they had an episode where they advocated for Agile Scrum, interestingly enough. So it started to gain traction, and over the last decade, like definitely the teens into to now, you've seen more and more bigs, the Fortune 500, the Fortune 100 firms really begin to see value and begin at adoption for that, which has only benefited us because they're always constantly looking for coaches, guides, mentors, shepherds in the process of helping them understand it.
Got it. So if I'm someone who's interested in creating a project, right? I'm in need of your consultative services, and I look up what this term Sprint Zero is. What does that mean to you? Can you help me, define that? What does that look like?
Yeah, we use this term Sprint Zero. So the process really, in terms of that collaborative approach, we operate in what we call time-boxed iterations called sprints. So sprint 1, 2, 3, etc. Sprint 0 is really just meant to be a predecessor or a spark event before we start. So, you know, I'm a runner. Before a race, you want to stretch. You want to make sure your socks are on and your bib is attached and your water bottles are set. You're preparing for the activity ahead. A sprint 0 is essentially a metaphor for that preparation. You're ensuring that all of your things are sorted such that you can be successful in the events that are forthcoming, whether that be your race or the software iteration cycles that are in front of you.
Gotcha. Your time at Nimbled, has there ever been a project or an idea that someone has taken you that you've deemed or considered too big?
Absolutely not. You know, the old adage, how does one eat an elephant? One bite at a time. You know, there's big is just an opportunity to right size such that big should never be such that it is anxiety inducing and, you know, that paralysis that says, oh my goodness, I have got to build this. I'm just going to bury my head and not get to it. Instead, what we need to do is, and again, the Sprint 0 is an excellent mechanism to assist our friends, the companies, on doing that. The totality of the work can be then subdivided into logical, useful, valuable components, which can then be subdivided further into finally a consumable piece of work. And then we build upon that over and over, iteratively, collaboratively, until we have said elephant or whatever large scale enterprise system they wish to create.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. Absolutely. Tell me a little bit about the team at Nimbled. You know, is everyone the OG staff from 2011, right? Do we have some fresh faces? Are we constantly growing? What does that look like?
Yeah, we're constantly moving. You know, I personally very much advocate for an organization that believes that we should be building for our future as well as our colleagues and our coworkers' future. So whether it be building a better analyst so they can seek their own fortunes at their own firm. We've had a number of individuals who have come, worked with us, and decided to spin off and do their own thing, and we celebrate that, right? I was very much the beneficiary of mentors who encouraged me to go off and do my own thing. Thus, I feel a great responsibility to do the same. So to answer your question, we have evolved and grown. We're always looking for a combination of, you know, talented, experienced individuals to push the envelope, yet at the same time bringing in folks who perhaps might not be able to spell Agile or Scrum and teach them on, because fresh, new, you know, introduction to these concepts always brings questions. Why do you do it this way? Well, this seems very 2015. Maybe we need to rethink this. So if you're not evolving and moving, then you're probably standing still and dying. So we're very much advocates for fresh blood, new, bring in and new bold ideas.
Love that. Yeah, absolutely. What about Nimbled's reach? Are you know, do you focus on companies that are in California, stateside? Are you a global, reach? What does that look like?
Yeah. So we've had we're primarily SoCal. Our network is based here. We've got an extensive contact list network, of course, having worked here for years. But we certainly are also nationwide. We've got opportunities currently in play in Texas, in the Pacific Northwest, Seattle area, as well as the Northeast in the New York area. We're actually also international. We have a current active project in Toronto, Canada, and we have done work overseas in London. So those are very specific engagements where we had relationships with folks with whom we met here, but had relocated and brought our good name with them, and had the opportunity to build relationships there.
Gotcha. No, that's awesome. Yeah, I love the reach. Um, of your time there, right? And obviously, this is going to be continued because you're continuing. What's been your favorite project that you've gotten the opportunity to work on, right? Or maybe favorite story? It could be, helping a company that you really was lost in the way or gotten burned by other company, and you kind of brought them to the finish line. Or it could be, a project that started off as one idea and ended up being, something that's humongous. So walk me through an example like that.
Yeah, it's great. Okay, well, so I'll answer it two ways. One interesting engagement that we did was, and I'm calling this out because it really exposed me to an entirely different space that I had really no idea that existed. I grew up in relatively small means, and immigrant family, not exposed to a ton of wealth. So we built a mobile app for a firm that dealt with high-end, high-wealth clients, and they specialized in alternative investments, boats, airplanes, horses, art. And it was just a world where, quite frankly, had never been exposed to. So it was a really interesting, opportunity to kind of peek in behind the velvet curtain of a world where I had never really been exposed to. So that was really interesting. Really pushed hard to interview horse people and boat people and airplane people, but for whatever reason, we were never allowed. But so that was interesting for that reason. And then one that really is near and dear to our heart is that we have had the opportunity. I'm a believer and a Christian practicing, and we had an opportunity, or currently are engaged in building a suite of mobile applications to assist a church to deliver the good news to its people. And the idea of tying my faith to what I do on a day-to-day basis just brings me no end of joy. So that was a real positive experience, and continues to be.
Yes, that's awesome. That just warmed my heart. My favorite question to ask, but honestly, it's my least favorite question to receive in an interview, or a job interview, is
Yeah.
why you, right? Why Nimbled? Like if I'm looking to start my project, right? I know I have an X amount of resources, or I have a timeline that I need to hit. Why do I choose Nimbled?
Right. This is going to sound very Jerry Maguire-esque, but I am a big fan of the movie. In the world of software consulting, and consulting, quite frankly, in general, we have become commoditized, right? You can get from the highest end McKinsey to throw a rock and hit a bazillion, one-off software shops that'll build you X, Y, or Z, mobile app, website, application, etc. When you come to Nimbled, we are building a collaborative, people-first solution. And software is a means to an end. It's an outcome. We very much understand and value that people are at the heart of your organization, and the solution that we are going to deliver to be successful has to have people at the center and at the heart of that solution. So our entire process is about lifting up and putting those people first and ensuring that those needs are met. And software is a means to that end, but not the end goal. It's really about people. So that's the reason why I believe Nimbled is the answer for most people in need of interesting, clever, and innovative solutions.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's awesome.